Maybe he wants a little more information, and maybe that last pick, Night Stalker, has to be a perfect game for it, though.
Yeah. I do think with SD, the Centaur looks very promising, for sure. And also Sand King, you know, he does have Burrow Strike. That's a stun. But if you can Centaur ulti and run away from the epicenter, that's very impactful in these team fights. It's great to disengage this hero.
Centaur is also a very good disseminate target in a team fight.
Yep. So much HP. When you have 5 bracers.
Look, a little food for thought after seeing the second phase of Fan. The Chen is the priority for Tundra to take out of the pool, but the other position 5s or supports in general that have been really favored are Omni Knight, still in there. Snapfire, we just saw on our screen earlier as well, also really favored. And Tusk, which was banned out in that game #1. So it's not like these two teams want to ignore it. They're very aware. It's at the forefront of their mind. And maybe you're questioning, is that what you want to pick up for yourself, either of the side of Gaimin? Are you okay to let those through for Tundra?
I mean, Tusk looks really good. And I think the moment you pick Shadow Demon, you no longer want Omni on your team, and the other team doesn't want Omni either. So, like, we probably won't see Omni in this game. And we're going to get an Enigma. This is a hero that it could flex, supposedly. We've seen it before. It didn't look super good, but maybe Gaimin has something cooking with this one. It can be an offlaner. Yeah, this is interesting. But just looking at Sand King already with an Enigma, this just has so many questions for me on like what they plan on doing. And they will be answered with the next 2 picks.
Isn't it just like a Chen replacement in a way?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Look at all
yes and no.
Look at all the bans from Tundra. Every single one of these heroes is a summons hero, and yet Gaimin was still able to come out of the phase picking a summons hero. This has got to be such a frustrating team to draft against. You're like, I'm just going to ban all the summons, and then they're still going to run a 5-man summons draft anyway.
Yeah, they're just trying to replicate the tempo of the game. It doesn't matter what role the hero is going to, but for now, I'm leaning more towards the Enigma going to be a 5. They've played it before, they've been successful with it.
But they haven't played it this tournament. That's what I'm
not yet.
Curious about. Because they have other ways of replicating playing fast, right? And then IO is definitely one of those heroes if they want to go back to IO, Lesh, stuff like that. So this is a very conscious choice. And after we saw last game too, first time Lone Druid on Dyrachyo, this will be first time Enigma on whoever plays it.
Yeah.
Clearly Gaimin is prepared for this and they have a strategy.
I think it's more than likely a Quinn Sand King mid with Enigma off lane. And then they see what the Tundra off lane is right now, so they can pick a 5 that's excellent against it, the Kunkka plus SD. I like the idea of an IO pairing. That sounds pretty strong with the Sand King mid to set up.
I do wonder if they've lost a little bit of faith in the IO pairing, because that was the one game that they did lose to Nouns in that upper bracket that, you know, they eventually did end up coming back in that series, but it was very exploited.
Okay, maybe they go for more like team fight and push and go for like a Jakiro. It would also do very well in the lane against the SD and the Kunkka.
I feel like you leave this Enigma mystery. Yeah, and you pick your position 4 here, and you pick your carry.
Feels like a 4 elk and offlane Enigma. Sand King, probably you guys are right about him going mid.
I think Dyrachyo is playing this. Alchemist, that is. I mean, he has a hero pool that he really enjoys. I feel like it's pretty good right now. They need that frontline type of hero. I think most likely this Enigma will be either support or offlane, depending on where they want to put the Sand King. I feel like you just pick a hero right now for Tofu, and everything is still a mystery.
And do you like the elk here against the Kunkka lane?
Yeah, I think it's totally fine.
So for Tofu, you would want a hero that can potentially lane with an Enigma, but then also have the potential of the Enigma going
It's
5.
difficult. Those two heroes need different things. If you're laning with an Enigma, you want a different hero. If you're laning with Sand King, you kind of also want a different hero.
Okay, well this hero can be a 4 and a 5.
I think it's mostly Tofu here, this hero.
Yeah, Seller has not played it once this tournament yet.
I mean, that's the cool thing about these drafts. We all have a slightly different opinion of like what they might be doing. You can't know for sure. Like, it's very open-ended. It could be support Alchemist for all we know in a mid Snapfire with a position 5 Enigma. Who really knows? Like, the best read I have is that they're going to see one more pick here, and then after that, they're going to decide where this Enigma's going to go. I think Dyrachyo, he has his hero pool. He does like the Alchemist. He's one of the few players that are still playing it, so he'll most likely pick that one up. You see the puck. Now I guess it's up to Quinn to really decide here.
Yeah.
Does he want to take the Sand King mid? Do they just want to throw it on the off lane, make Enigma 5, and then all of a sudden pick a new hero for the mid lane for Quinn? These are the answers that they'll have to have for this.
My pitch, my elevator pitch here would be that I think that with all the summons heroes banned out, the hero that they're going to get tempo through is Enigma. It's one of the few left that they could get tempo through, and I think with items, that's going to give them the tempo. If he's a 5, then they have to pick an offlaner that either wins them late or something like that, but that doesn't seem very in-game in style, or they need to pick an offlaner that also provides tempo, which like all of them are banned out.
Well, that was going to be my question, is what exactly does a support, most likely a position 5, Enigma give you? Is it purely to focus on those lanes, and you're hoping that there's this big save, ultimate black hole that does do damage in the later fights? What are you exactly waiting out for, and what window timing does he slot into that gives that advantage for Gaimin to make that swap?
I think as a support position 5 Enigma, you kind of you get to farm, right? He's one of the better ones if you're talking about like farming position 5s outside Chen, Naga, and it kind of enables your team to not buy the aura, so because you can buy everything, you can farm, and everyone else can just get their core items a little bit faster, and the whole game just feels a lot faster when you have this type of support that can farm the aura items.
All right, hear me out here, all right? You're going to have Enigma 5 with Alchemist, and they're not going to really play to win the lane because it's impossible, but Enigma is going to use his Eidolons on this hero to just stack for Alchemist, and then he's just going to go head to the jungle, and then Enigma will just try to hold the lane. Because I really think this Enigma's 5.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
They're banning mids too. Like, sure, you see Ricky, and you're like, that's a mid. That is a mid against Puck. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Dragonite or a Void Spirit get banned out on the next one. Void Spirit seems like an incredibly good ban. You are playing versus Conka and a Puck.
Yeah, Shadow Demon plus all the backline supports, very vulnerable towards the Aghanim's from Void Spirit. I mean, they're definitely lacking a hero that can deal with the Puck. And all the heroes that they have right now, they're not exactly the best at catching Puck.
Or maybe there's a better support that adheres to the let's try and look down and catch the puck, and now it's even better
about
argument.
Lion? Something like a Lion?
I was
saying Lion without saying Lion.
I was thinking about Lion or Skywrath. Either of those two heroes, they kind of do the same thing. Sky would give you more burst. Lion would give you less of a terrible hero. But it does make the lane a little bit weird, because then that would be like Sky Enigma or Lion Enigma, which is very strange. They do go for the Void Spirit ban, so they're thinking of a Puck answer from the mid lane, which I agree with. I think that's the most likely here.
Now it comes down to, is that mid counterpick to Puck mid worth picking, right? Or do you just throw the Sand King mid and do what you guys are talking about? A lot is going to be in the pool still. I think versus Puck, is there no Monkey's banned? Okay, Dragonite's the last thing I can really think about that does really well versus Puck in the mid lane. Maybe there's more, like
Tiny. I like that.
Sure. I mean, we saw snipers as well.
Oh, now I really like Tiny.
Yeah, Drow's going to be that last pick for Tundra. That's going to be their carry, so Pure will be picking it up for themselves. And you're saying the Tiny, once coming out of that mid lane, it's going to be able to really jump on top of the Drow and just burster? Is that the idea that you're having towards what he can do out of the lane?
You toss her in. I mean, she doesn't like to be, she's all about positioning. Tiny's the best hero at disrupting positioning. It beats the puck in lane. It can jump the back line, SD and the Tusk, and one-shot these heroes. It does make it so that that flex we're talking about happens, which is a bit weird. You end up with an Enigma plus a Snapfire lane, or Celery is going to play Snap for the first time in the tournament, and it's not going to be Tofu, and then they'll have a different lane on the safe lane. Like, it just leads to some weird flexes, but I guess I trust Tundra's read that there's a mid laner coming out of Gaimin here.
I will say Enigma offlane just got a lot better. Even if it is at the sacrifice of like a Sand King going support, if they really want to go that route. Unlikely, but possible. I'm really thinking if I'm Gaimin, how can I make this Enigma work in the offlane? If not, then just go ahead and pick a mid for Quinn here.
So it's a Quinn, sorry, it's a Quinn. It's a mid or a 5 is what we're thinking now.
5 or 4, yeah.
5 or 4.
Depending how they want to flex the Snapfire.
There's just way too many options.
It's a very open-ended draft, yeah.
Which is good and bad.
If they want, they could put Alchemist on position 4th Enigma too. Like, who really knows?
Don't keep going, please, Fia.
So Sand King's going mid here.
Yeah.
Underlord's very good against Drow in the game. Pretty good in the lane as well. Underlord plus Snapfire. Pretty good amount of damage with your spells. It's pretty good at stopping the snowball save with the pit. Pretty good against Puck as well with the root.
Yeah, we were thinking a little bit too like one-to-one counter. I think Underlord gives them a very solid timing in the game. Celery on Enigma can go for like the drums Vlads, maybe do the thing that Fear was talking about, where the Alt goes in jungles and then Celery takes the lane, gets some net worth that way, and then Ace can go for the other aura items, which is the Greaves and the Pipe, and that'll give them a really solid timing where at that point, Duraccio and Alk should have Radiance plus like 1.5 items, and I think that's a really good point for them to get the tempo and win the game.
Fear, I'm going to need you to give the Tundra fans out there a little bit of hope that we're going to get a Game 3, that they're going to be able to secure Game 2 with this draft for themselves.
Sure, I mean, Thompson's going to have a great laning stage. He's laning for Sand King, should be pretty easy. He's going to get some runes, go across the map, gets also kill. Ramses has absolutely free lane on the Kunkka. He'll be able to make some rotations as well, win the lane, and he's going to be very, very farmed. He'll get his fast blade mail, fast pipe, or the Aghanims. I expect a lot from Ramses this game.
Okay, well, I'm glad we're leaving it on that note, because we're going to head on down to the stage with Slacks and our Tundra coach, Moon.
Hello, Copenhagen. That is right. We're ready for our next game here. I have Moon. Give it up for Moon. Fantastic. Good to see you again, my friend. It's a pleasure as always.
Yep.
All right. So you banned Brood. You banned Chen.
Yes.
You banned Lone Druid.
Yes.
Any reason why?
Well, these guys won Riyadh using zoo heroes, so we figured ban the zoo heroes as many as we can.
Do you think you banned enough to get away with it? You guys have less zoo to deal with now?
I mean, they still picked Enigma, and they're still abusing auras of Underlord, so we'll see.
All right, fantastic. Now, what did you say to the boys after that first game? It was a little tough, a little rough. You know, you've been in this situation before. You're a consummate professional. Did you say anything to get their heads back into the game?
So it's okay, guys. We just played 2 best of 1s after.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. And we're going to see that Sand King coming out first there. How's the thoughts on the Sand King? We saw some crazy Sand King earlier today. Will we see just as nuts of a Sand King here today?
Well, Maureen is Grandmaster Sand King, and Soul is 33. But Quinn is Silver level 6 Sand King, so this guy's a noob Sand King.
Oh, that's what I like to hear. Well, we'll see if those words live up. Best of luck to you, my friend. It's going to be one heck of a series, and we'll be throwing over to our casters.
Quinn's a noob. Today I learned.
That's definitely not getting clipped out of context. Good way to start that one. Setting yourself up for failure has always been one of your strong suits.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, fan.
What a
Thank
nice
you.
sign. How wholesome.
Now cross out Syndarin's name.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's probably the thing you should be doing, yeah. What a switch up. Can I just say, this is 9 new heroes compared to last game, and if you want to count that the Alchemist is on the opposite team, it's actually 10.
Yep.
So complete switch up. We were talking about how Tundra needed to make some adjustments. They made all the adjustments they possibly could. They didn't even prioritize their own Mars as number 1. They went for the Shadow Demon on Saksa, which, in my opinion, might be one of Saksa's top 3 best heroes of all time, together with his Tusk, and I don't know what the third one is. I should not have dug that hole.
Okay, good job.
But definitely those 2. His Shadow Demon is amazing. on the same side of Gaimin Gladiators, they have, you know, a lot of their bread and butter. They've got the Underlord, which is one of their best heroes. I would say the Celery Enigma is a bit of a deviation. He plays this hero very well, but I don't know how sold I am on this playing into an off-lane Kunkka. This should be a very, very good lane matchup for the side of Tundra this time around, and I think no matter what happens, it's very unlikely to follow the same trajectory of the previous game, right? Like, the lineups are just too different.
Well, you say that now. I mean, I'm not sure. We'll see.
I might have to eat those words in 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, Gaimin have, it feels like they're predictably unpredictable in a way, where you know the kind of strat they're going to be using, but you don't know how they're going to do it exactly. Like with what heroes. Let's see if they can do it with 5 brand new heroes. But they do play fast pretty much every single time.
Yeah.
So Tundra's all about defending. I mean, what is the best strat against Gaimin, would you say? Just like as a mindset? Like, get to a certain point of the game and we're golden kind of thing, or?
I definitely think the #1 thing you don't do is be too greedy. I think that's the biggest Achilles heel that a lot of the teams, and I want to say especially the Chinese region, has struggled with against Gaimin Gladiators the last 2 years, is that they have picked 2 weak lanes and heroes that need to farm too much.
Yeah.
And then they lose the lanes and they lose the mid game and they never get to play their lineup. So I think the #1 foundation playing as this team is you need to be competitive in lanes. You don't have to win them, but you need to do well enough that you can get to stage 2 of the game, and then you need to out-execute them, in particular, I would say, in one team fight. If you beat these guys in one team fight between minute 15 and 20, a lot of the time that can be enough. We've seen Gaimin bleed at this tournament in multiple games where a team just outplays them once or twice and the script kind of falls apart. The problem is that they're so extremely good at playing this way that you really have to bring your A game, whereas maybe against certain other teams in this tournament you can, you know, play maybe at 85% of your potential and it might cut it. Against Gaimin you generally need to bring like 95 plus. It's a very tight window you need to hit every game.
Well, the winner of this series gets the pleasure of facing off against Team Liquid, which Gaimin versus Liquid would be, what, the 100th time this year, I think?
Yep.
And Liquid have lost every single time, basically.
If you're in the audience or you're watching at home and you're like, Liquid versus Gaimin, I've never seen that match before. That is the ultimate self-report that you've not followed Dota for 2 years.
Yeah.
So don't say that around your friends that you're trying to impress. Unless you're trying to impress them with how much other stuff you do aside from watching Dota.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. If you have a life, congratulations.
Yep.
You're in the minority here, for sure.
Right,
so
let's insult the audience again. The Suns fan classic. Disruption into Torrent. But they're not going to pursue.
There it is. As we have a concoction from Duraccio with the acid spray being laid down for Ramses. Just a little bit of harassment back and forth. Already 2 stacks of Shadow Poison from Soxa, though, onto Celery. And the third will connect. He's going to pop the stick. Blood Grenade applied as well. Not able to get the 4th, though, as Soxa eventually run down. And Celery will take a bit of damage here, but should be able to survive. So first blood for Gaimin again.
And I would say a little bit of an unexpected one of the kind. This was not the first lane I was expecting to see a kill in, and if it were, it would maybe have been potentially on the Enigma, but yeah, as the side of Tundra, got to be a little bit careful with throwing out all your spells just to harass, because you're opening a counterplay possibility for the Alchemist immediately there, and they will take advantage of that. So probably lesson learned here for the side of Soxa and Ramses. And unfortunately, when you're playing against an Alchemist Enigma lane, just getting that level 3 on Enigma is already a very big deal, and he's managed to do this without too much of an issue. So I think once again, Gaimin are going to be pretty happy with the start that they've had.
So from Tundra's perspective, what is their, like, I don't want to say time limit. We're going to see Pit of Malice applied. Oh, okay, nice snowball to mitigate some of this, but they're both going to get rooted again. Big Scatterblast to follow. Pure now on the run. But Whitemon will have his fat body in the way, so no harm done in the end.
What do you think about Drow attacking Underlord and his health bar moving 1%? Do you think Pure is enjoying that, or?
Well, depends on if he's a masochist or not, I suppose.
Should I pick Queen of Pain then?
Perhaps ask him after this series is over. Note for Nomad.
Whether he wins or loses, did you enjoy when you couldn't damage the enemy off later? Did it remind you of Poor Man's Shield from before you were born?
You know, the funny thing is, I'm completely segueing here. It's not related at all to what you just said. When I think of Ace as a player, Cinder, I actually think of Underlord. I know he plays a lot of heroes, but Underlord is, like, for some reason, his signature that I think of.
I would agree with that in particular because it's the hero he plays the most that others don't, right? I think that's why it stands out, is that he prioritizes it so much more than every other team in this tournament. And there was, I also think a part of it is when Gaimin kind of made a name for themselves, Underlord was one of their pocket strategies in the beginning. And then it just became a standard strategy that everybody came to expect. But it was one of the, I believe it was one of the first, I'm blanking on which tournament it was. It was when the, it was when we got the bigger map, I think.
Yeah.
They ran this almost immediately with great success because he has a global ability and he is able to farm a lot, buy auras, and take advantage of all of this new potential.
Yeah, Fiend's Gate has really changed how this hero, well, not really. It's changed the way the hero plays in the mid game where you're actually transitioning to other lanes as opposed to before. I feel like it was more of a getaway. You'd rarely see it used.
Yeah.
The old ult, which I can't, it was Dark Rift, actually, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, Cinderin had a great idea for an ult for Underlord, sent it to Ice Frog, and they put it in the game.
Which it turns out someone else had that idea 10 years earlier on the Play Dota forums, but you know, I'll take credit.
That's what they tell you to make you feel bad, Cinderin. It was all you.
All right, you're a good friend. Occasionally.
Pure, okay.
And you really try.
Dyrachyo.
Classic Dyrachyo ganks through the gate.
And that's going to be a stun on himself as Pure going to get cooked by Tofu.
Shards.
Shards going to force Whitemon away. And Pure, he's taking a decent amount of damage, but more rotations come from Soxa and company. So this little wraparound from Gaimin not able to find a kill.
Really good play from both teams, though, to be honest. I think the rotation from Dyrachyo there was not an obvious play, so that initiation to begin with was quite clever, but Tundra did a very good job line of sighting him, so he's done himself, and then Whitemon with some really crucial ice shards blocking off Enigma from finding Malefice onto Drow, which would have been a 100% kill.
You mentioned this matchup. Ramses is 50-14 versus Dyrachyo's 31-5.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think it would be this bad. That's pretty crazy.
Fortunately, Quinn has a haste run and he'll go kill the enemy carry, so Dyrachyo's still far ahead of Pure. And now they're going to die.
Whitemon cookied up.
He's
gets the snowball.
5.
Yeah. Onto the siege.
And he's
he is surrounded and will eventually be killed off. Only question is who will get credit for it. It will be Ace. And now the tier 1 tower is next.
Straight back to mid for Quinn. Job well done. He got 2 kills on the bottom lane, and now he's going to get back to defend his tower and farm. Easily top net worth in the game. Maybe Moon inspired him a lot with that great speech. Moon has been known for his speeches.
Oh, yeah.
And he really lit a fire onto Quinn, saying he's bad at this hero because he's only level 6.
Yeah, Quinn definitely heard that through the soundproof.
That's a fair point, but sometimes you just feel the vibe. You know, he saw Moon. Okay, he saw Moon walk out onto the stage to be interviewed, and he knew what it was about. He didn't need to hear anything.
That's fair. I've heard enough of him.
Yeah.
A nice block off here as Quinn actually cannot get to the low ground. Will Burrow strike Topson though, who waning rifts away. Soxa.
Good thing.
Rotation over as well. Topson will be able to get away and secure the invisibility room.
And we even tried to get that kill with a deep, with the full bore scatterblast, but not quite from Tofu. He had already jaunted away on the puck, so still looking like a good start for Gaimin Gladiators, which is, you know, how it tends to go in a lot of their games.
Yeah.
But I will say in comparison to the previous game, as I mentioned, the nature of the strategies are very different, and I wonder if Gaimin can still find this balling up window. They're going to be relying on a different nature of building the auras. As the panel talked about, Celery can buy them on Enigma, but I think it's likely he'll get them slower than on Chen. He won't have that global heal, which is an addition to that aura strategy. Instead now of the Brood, they're running the Underlord, which I would say on average farms slower than Brood, so I think it's a bit of a plan B as well. So all in all, probably not going to hit the exact same window, but it could still be the same trajectory just 5 minutes later. And Tundra will do everything in their power to try to avoid that. Currently what Topson's doing mid is very good for that.
That's
almost taking the mid-tier tier 1 tower on the puck minute 9.
Drinking buddies with the coil attached. Oh, he actually does not break it. He's still in the high ground. The snowball does secure the kill, but Ace has come in with the Pit of Malice now onto Whitemon, who's eventually going to get chased out, so it will likely just be a 1-for-1 trade.
Here's a shovel! Dig!
As the Firestorm and the
efficiency.
Necro Book will assist.
Yep. In case you don't know what that is, it says that it summons Necronomicon units, and it's on you to Google what that means.
That's right.
That's information for old players. If you're a young or a new player in Dota 2, certain things are just
Sundern, there's a rite of passage in Dota.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just got to
That is a very good way of
That's
phrasing
fine.
it.
That
So
is
mid-tier 1
a lot of
down.
stacks.
Thompson will get the mid-tier 1 tower sub 10 minutes as Puck. I want to say that's very, very unusual. So took good advantage of the fact that Quinn was rotating to put some pressure on the tower and just never left. He's kept pushing this tower the whole time. He's still 1,000 gold behind the Sand King, which I find quite surprising. But, you know, it's Sand King. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised that even though you have barely left your lane on the Puck.
It's Quinn Sand King, as Moon put it, right? As Whitemon. He's going to break this smoke, Tofu and Quinn. Okay, he actually puts down a ward as well.
Oh, he walks into them.
Yeah, they see him in the trees. Can he juke? Oh, Burrow Strike missed.
He can.
Quinn Sand King, as the great Moon Meander once said 10 minutes ago.
You learn this stun on level 10 as Sand King. I don't mean hero level, but of course Dota Plus level.
Yeah, Dota Plus.
Very unfortunate he was actually level 10. That made the joke really bad.
I was going to say, I think Silver is level 10. There's Moon Meander on the bottom right as we have a gank here. Quinn, he's going to get the Burrow Strike correctly used here as Whitemon will take a tumble.
It was just a setup to bait more heroes to rotate and then make the same play again.
And Thompson, just being a bit of an annoyance, will use the Illusory Orb to jaunt away. So he's going for the Witchblade. You can see Dyrachyo, obviously the Alchemist Radiance, no big surprise. I mean, I guess last game was kind of up in the air what Thompson wanted to go for just because it was a mid, but position 1 pretty much always going to be Radiance.
Now, on the other side, you mentioned the Kunkka. He's top net worth in the game over an Alk who has 70 CS minute 11. So Ramses has got 125, including 2 massive stacks in their own area. So really prioritizing getting an early pipe on him. And it seems to be the mindset here for Tundra. Similar to a previous game, just that in the sense that they want to defend their towers. But I think this time around, Ramses can find a much, much bigger impact with how good of an early start he has. You add the Rum to that from the Ghost Ship. And they have some amazing teamfight combos with the Puck plus Coil.
Speaking of Coil, will be used. Thompson's already kind of low on HP as the Fiend's Gate's coming. Mortimer's Kisses doing a decent amount of work as Ramsey's going to get stuck inside of the pit. The Burrow Strike will be there as well. He gets drinking buddies though. Soxa will self-disrupt. Likely will fall here as the Black Hole comes from Celery. That's the death of Soxa, and Ramsey's probably next on the list. Indeed he is. And they even find Thompson on the other side. So Gaimin Gladiators, they look at their HP. Like, nobody's even damaged here, basically. It's a 3 for nothing.
You've got to be super careful with fight selection. They have some good skirmishing heroes, but yeah, as you said, the damage isn't really the best just yet. Puck needs the Witchblade. You ideally need a couple more levels on the Shadow Demon and the Tusk to pull this off. And when you're playing offlane utility Kunkka with Pipe first, this hero doesn't deal good damage. That was a 5-on-4. Pure never joined, so they're missing that carry output. To be fair, I don't think he should have joined. I just think they shouldn't have taken that initiation to begin with. And Gaimin Gladiators say, thank you very much for going on us. We're going to gate in and just crush you with numbers. That was very, very easy. You got to be careful as Tundra already now. That was a very big mistake. And that snowballs fast.
It was a 2K lead for Gaimin before that with Alchemist, so probably roughly even. 6K now after one fight. It snowballs really fast.
Yeah.
Dyrachyo, Sacred Relic in tow, just about 100 away from finishing.
Actually,
full Radiance
has
now.
it. I wonder why maybe he's waiting for the TP scroll as well, I guess. But yeah, that's going to be a 13-minute Radiance. Not the fastest, but it's solid. And overall, the course of the game is fine for
Gets
them.
off the X. The Torrent did not hit, but they should have enough damage. Obviously, Celery without the Black Hole still.
It's such a slow kill, though. Still,
yeah, they just don't have damage, do they?
Yeah.
I mean, Drow is going to be their damage if Pure can get there.
Yeah, there's a reason this hero hasn't been particularly popular this tournament. She's not that great in lane. She's not that fast to come online. And in a meta where a lot of teams are focusing on fighting around that 15 to 20 minute mark to really build their advantage, Drow is just pretty far down the list of heroes that I think is appealing for that. So maybe Tundra.
Well, I think I could be wrong, of course. Usually am, in fact. If they get to a later stage of the game, Aghanim Scepter for Drow is crazy against basically any Gaimin Gladiators lineup. Right?
She is very good.
Very strong.
For sure. But again, as we've talked about in the previous series, this is the mistake that a lot of teams make against Gaimin, is that they think too far into the game.
Yeah.
I think against this team, you should think about what's our strategy for the first 20 minutes, then you drill that, figure out how you do it, and then whatever comes after is second consideration. I think any lineup where you're planning for minute 40 is a mistake. Once the 20-minute goal has been achieved, then you can start planning for minute 40. And, well, right now, Gaimin with a 7,000 gold lead and the dive here.
He's spotted. Concoction's coming for him with the Burrow Strike and the Epicenter. Nice disruption from Soxa. Going to mitigate a ton of that damage. The Kunkka's stuck inside the pit, though, as Soxa's facing the rain of Dyrachyo, who will eventually run him down. Ramses is actually the first to fall, though, as Soxa somehow living this long,
across,
but not for much longer. So it is 2 kills for Gaimin.
I don't think Soxa meant to disrupt the Sand King there. I think he actually misclicked and wanted to disrupt the Kunkka because the Epicenter as well as the Sandstorm were still running, so the disruption actually didn't do that much. But in all honesty, I don't know if it really matters. I think if he saves him for another 5 seconds, what's that going to do? He got all of his spells out in the Kunkka. The simple version of this is they just can't fight. There's not enough in the tank right now versus this incredibly strong mid-game lineup that Gaimin Gladiators have right now. 10,000 gold, minute 16.
Yep.
Remember when I said it was going to be the exact same game as the last one? Everybody remembers that.
Waning Rift onto 2, Thompson with very little mana, and there is the Pit of Malice. He's going to use the phase shift and be able to Illusory Orb out. And Whitemon, nice block, but there's not going to be any follow-up. I mean, Pit of Malice against any mobility hero is so hard to deal with.
It's a problem when the highlights for Tundra right now is not dying. I was like, that was a good play because Puck got away. That really seems to be the state of the game. Pure, let's see if he can make a good play and escape this one.
Yep, he's going to attempt to TP out, but the Burrow Strike from Quinn and the Scatter Blast eviscerates him.
Oh, Thompson already jaunted.
Thompson will have to use his coil in retreat. He's going to take a drinking buddies and run away.
The fact that he jaunted already is going to force him to use ult. So now they don't have that either if they were ever planning on anything. I suppose with the current game state and their inability to fight, I guess it doesn't really matter that much having the key cooldown on that. In a lot of other situations, that would have been a bigger deal.
Oh boy,
where are they going?
5-man gate to kill Soxa! Get wrecked! They really hate him! And now the mid lane, they will try to push their advantage even more. And they haven't even gone for the first Roche yet. This has just spiraled out of control. Quinn gonna force Thompson out again. And he now
find
has
Ramsey's top as well. I wonder if there's going to be any rotation here. This is going to be a quite long chase, but they're going to start it off with a pit. TP coming in from Sand King and out from the south. Ramses.
And Quinn has now made his way over. This should be the death of Ramses again.
Surrounded
actually
on
uses
all
his
sides.
boat. But yeah, Tundra. Whew, this is looking really rough. I was expecting, I mean, obviously it could get turned around here, but ever since we mentioned that Pure was the best player in this tournament, Cinderin.
You should have never said it.
You agreed with me. You're part of this curse.
That's what friends do.
Yeah.
Like, do I look good in this shirt?
Boy.
Yeah, you do. But
Black Hole ensures yet another kill. Whitemon tried for some sort of a save, but he might just get run down as well. Meanwhile, they are just dropping like flies. Epicenter not going to do that much damage because of the disruption as Pure trying to keep Quinn at arm's length, but his arms are really gangly and long, Cinderin. He's going to get the Burrow Strike and the kill.
This is a good opportunity to learn.
He has ridiculous wingspan.
what if Gaimin were tricking everyone the whole tournament into banning their second best strategy? And now they gave them their best strategy by banning all their heroes.
The kisses come from very far away. Quinn with a double kill. My goodness, this is not even remotely close. What happened? This is the upper bracket semis.
Yep.
Gaimin are making Tundra look just awful. But Gaimin, they are just on another level right now, it feels like. They get the tier 3. And now looking for their first set of racks at 19 minutes. No Roche even attempted yet, by the way.
They feel invincible. They're just way too
feels
tanky
like
on
they
their
are.
heroes. Sand King Bloodstone, you put a Solar Crest on him, you have Underlord next to him with Greaves. You have Glimmer on the Snapfire. The Alchemist himself already has a Manta as well, so he has a self-dispel when he gets jumped on to be in front and cause confusion. I mean, it's like a broken record, but genuinely, Tundra cannot fight. It's just not possible. So what do? This is the catch-22 you face yourself with in a lot of Gaimin Gladiators games is well, when the early game goes poorly and you reach this mid game and you can't fight them, what is your plan actually?
Yeah.
Are you going to play keep away and try to out-farm them and just dodge them? Are you even going to be able to match their farming speed in that case because they control 75% of the map? Are you going to just YOLO into a fight and hope for the best? What if they never split up so you can't get a skirmish?
Oh boy.
Pure
gets stunned. Whitemon doing a nice job of blocking off one hero, but the problem is there's many others to contest with. That's going to be 2 quick kills again for Gaimin. It is 19-2. And coming into this, Tundra have been looking really good too.
Yep.
So it just goes to show, and it's funny, every time we cast Gaimin Gladiators, like, oh, this is a really bad matchup for the other team. They can't handle it. What's a good matchup against Gaimin? That's the question.
Yeah. I mean, how many tournaments have we seen them have a semi-slow start, which was also the case in the Road to International this time. It wasn't like they had a flawless group stage or anything.
Yeah.
They've just learned from the games they lost. They've come to the right conclusions, as they seem to do in general. And they've leveled up super hard. So it's not necessarily the other teams having a poor showing or being worse. It's just Gaimin Gladiators are bringing a completely different level to the table than they did on day one.
Yeah.
And now you're the ones who need to play catch-up. In this game, unlikely to happen, but of course, this is an upper bracket match, so you have a second shot as Tundra unless you pull off the most ridiculous comeback of this tournament while being down 20k gold minute 21.
Yeah.
Unless you can somehow find this way. The silver lining is there's a lot of tape to study, a lot to learn, and arguably this is more than likely going to be the hardest matchup you're playing until you might meet them again ultimately.
Most likely, that
This
is correct. Dyrachyo, okay. Do they have the damage to kill him off?
No.
Oh, he mances off the X.
Wow, my God.
Perfect timing, and now the runaround is here. Quinn, the Epi, gonna slow Ramses to a crawl. The black hole, everybody's just having their own separate fights, Cinderin. Thompson is dead, Ramses is next. As Celery eventually will fall. That is the 3rd kill for Tundra now. Soxa gets beat down to a pulp. And it looks like Pure and company will just have to try and run away. As Whitemon inside. Okay.
Double
Couple
buyback.
buybacks. They absolutely have to get a kill here. On a core hero. Nice disruption from Soxa to dodge the concoction, but it's going to be probably too little too late. So we do have the 3-2-2, by the way. Let's hear some cheers in the crowd for that. As Pure with the gust, stuck inside against drinking buddies. Snowball back into it, though he gets rooted again. Oh dear, that is not what you want to see.
It was better than not snowballing, because then they would have both been stunned. Now it was only the Drow that died.
Yeah, screw the drought.
All right.
And Gaimin, again, no Roche attempt in this game. They are not afraid to continue on here. Here comes the boat from Ramses. He's been trying to work on this Aghanim Scepter for quite a while, but it is not coming together for him. The punch into the air, Quinn taking very little damage. He's unkillable at this point. Ramses been rooted 3 or 4 times in this engagement, it feels like, as the coil already used, and they just stood there because they don't do any damage. And the second Rax is upon Gaimin to claim for themselves. As Tundra can only look on, although Gaimin are backing away. Perhaps a soft reset. Another beautiful Manta, man.
What was that game called where you had to Manta dodge things? Training Polygon? He's been playing that. He's been playing Training Polygon.
All right, so what is your voice line? Since we have plenty of time to talk now, what does your voice line mean exactly?
It means cheers.
It means cheers?
Yes.
Okay, that's something that people, hold that thought. Celery, okay. Got a lot of kisses going on. He's actually basically making out with them with so many kisses. Get a room already as Ramses stuck in a horrible position. They're just going to call it GG. Gaimin Gladiators absolutely destroy Tundra 2-0. And they're going to go to the upper bracket finals here at TI to face off against Team Liquid.
And if you showed up in the audience tonight and you were like, man, we have to get dinner before we watch this show or the restaurants are going to be closed, I have good news for you. It's 8 minutes to 9. So you might still be able to get a dinner order in because Gaimin Gladiators, they're hungry. They want to get out of here as fast as possible so they can enjoy a delightful meal after already completely munching on Tundra in the most one-sided game of the entire day. What a complete beatdown.
Yeah, I was not expecting this at this stage of the tournament. This is like a group stage match. I mean, Gaimin Gladiators, like we talked about, just on another level right now. And it might have something to do with how aggressively Quinn chews his chewing gum, because it's, look at him. Like, it's very aggressive. Look at the jaw movement. Very precise. Look at him.
Yeah.
What a good lad. So Gaimin Gladiators 2-0 in a fashion we were not expecting. So Tundra go to the lower bracket. Like we talked about, this is not an elimination series. I mean, looking ahead just real quickly, Cinder, and don't go on one of your monologues, but Gaimin Gladiators versus Liquid. What are you expecting this time?
Closer than this.
Oh, okay.
There you go. There's my non-monologue answer.
That's very good.
It might just be, you know, both teams play fast. They play aggressive in the early game. I think it's the best match for Gaimin Gladiators right now with how they're playing, but unfortunately, historically, it's not a great match for Liquid most of the time. But they've been better against them this year than last year. So I think that could be really exciting when we get there.
Yep. I mean, they've had enough time to face each other to learn a lot over the last couple of years. So I'm sure they're going to have some juicy stuff for us. But I believe we have an interview. Let's take a look.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, I'm here with the winning team's captain. It is Celery. Celery, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, pretty good. What about you?
Not bad. I mean, what happened? Did you have like a dinner reservation to get to or something? That was ridiculous.
Nah, we got some nice heroes. I was surprised. We lost 20 scrims in a row, but now we're back, I guess.
You lost 20 scrims in a row, and then you come to this. I mean, I guess losing is learning. You did a lot of learning.
I guess so.
All right. I mean, but seriously though, like, what caused this absolute smackdown of a series? You know, what do you see in the series that went so well for you and went so wrong for Tundra?
I'm not sure. We just had a really nice game. Lanes, we were just able to play our game. They played a bit too slow for how we like to play. And I think we just executed really well. I'm very proud of how we played.
Very well. I mean, you should be, because this was an absolutely dominating performance, and now you're going into the upper bracket finals like this. Are you expecting the same thing to happen tomorrow against Liquid?
No, it's never easy. I'm sure Liquid is ready. They saw us too many times. I'm sure they're ready this time.
All right, Celery, thank you very much. And finally from me then, have you got anything else up your sleeve which you're yet to show us at this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of nice threats. We have a Danish coach, so he's super excited. So give it up for CY.
Give it up for CY. Give it up for Gaimin Gladiators. And give it up for Celery as they secure themselves top 3 at the International. And we will throw it back to our panel. Thank you, Celery.
Thank you both so much. All about Gaimin Gladiators fans in the arena, loving that series because it was a phenomenal 2-0. There is no other way to put this. There was a massive skill difference. I don't know, Jenkins, if it was an aspect of a